Hi friends, and welcome to In the Weeds, the official CCL halftime show presented by Roll20. I'm Gillyweed, and I'm here with Madara, ranged player for Oxygen Esports. Hey Madara, how's it going?
Going pretty well. How about yourself?
Oh, thank you for asking. It's going pretty well. I'm super excited to get to talk to you. This is my first time getting to interview you, so I'm just really pumped. How has CCL been going so far? We're almost through the season. It's crazy.
I mean, it's been a blast. 6 months ago, if you had told me that HOTS was coming back into professional esports, I would not have believed you. And if you had told me that I would be a part of it, I would have asked what you were on.
Really? Even, was it not until the draft show when you were like actually drafted that you were like, oh my gosh, I'm doing this? Or when did you maybe think that you'd be a part of it?
Well, before the end of the summer, no one really even knew who I was. I sort of made a name for myself in the Storm League ladders and popped out of nowhere. So I mean, the whole thing is kind of like really new and abrupt to me, but it's been incredible and exciting and so much fun.
That's awesome to hear. I mean, I think, you know, everyone, of course, wants to win, but more than anything, I'm just so glad that people are having fun and enjoying their time playing in CCL. It's very heartwarming. I'm going to ask you, unfortunately, about last week, so maybe a little less fun, just slightly, because you guys unfortunately had your first loss versus Granite, but it was a very close series. What were some of the takeaways for you coming out of that series?
It would have been nice to go undefeated, of course, right? But losing a game, you can learn a lot more than just winning every game in the series. And I think the team's been able to take away a lot from that series, especially. We've got a fire under ourselves now, and you know, we're really gonna strive to recapture that first place from crowd control.
Yeah, I'm gonna ask you about that match in a hot second. You know what I gotta ask about from that game 5. You know I gotta ask about the Murky. Were you guys expecting this? What did you guys think when you saw this drafted?
I don't think anyone expected the Murky, and when they picked it, we all kind of just disregarded it. To be honest, didn't think it would be much of a problem.
Was it a problem, or do you think it was the rest of the draft more so, or, you know, where did that game go wrong, you think?
No, I don't think the Murky was the problem, to be honest. I think he played a great Murky, but I don't know if that's what it was. I think after 5 long games, watching another 5-game series beforehand,
yes,
it was getting late, the nerves were on, and level 20 fights on Garden of Terror. It goes the wrong way, and you might have been winning the whole game, and then it's over.
Mm-hmm. Is you talking about nerves? Is that something that you have experienced? Given that, you know, it's maybe newer for you, you know, competing. I don't know what your history has been, you know, competing maybe in other games in the past, but is that something that you know have experienced or have tend to in those close clutch moments of a series?
This is my first time doing anything esports related, really.
Oh.
So I don't have much experience with it, but when the pressure's on, I don't really let it get to me. It's best to keep a cool head about it. And like, even as we were losing that last game, the team comms were, I'm up in 10 seconds. I've got Blessed Shield. We need to be looking at the Tychus. We didn't let it phase us at all.
Oh, that's amazing. I'm confident that that'll help you guys bounce back, and I definitely, you know that you guys are looking to do just that, because this next match for you guys is all the more important now, because you guys are tied with crowd control. It's going to be probably the hype match of the weekend. How do you see that match playing out? Tell me a little bit about it.
Well, crowd control is a team full of really good players. I don't think for sure I can say one team is going to win or lose, but I wholeheartedly believe in Oxygen's ability to overcome the challenge that's facing us. Cascon himself has assured me that we won't lose a draft to crowd control, so if we do lose, we can put all the blame on him. But I think it's going to be some really good Heroes of the Storm regardless, and it's going to be quite the match to be a part of and to watch.
I can't wait to watch it. I would love to know, you know, in scrimming versus them and in seeing their game so far in CCL, who has really stood out to you on the crowd control lineup?
I think Lauer's obviously stood out. He's one of the most aggressive tanks. They've got this team mentality that if they can find a fight that they think they can win, they'll be there in a flash. And I think Lauer really spearheads that strategy for them. I've heard he's their main shot caller, and I've played with Lauer sometimes. I know when he's saying, "We're going in, let's wipe them and win the game." So I think he's really brought the team to where they are. Not that any of the players couldn't do that themselves, but I think they all band around him really well.
Yeah, I think, you know, having that experience for sure, just in having your frontliner have that experience and that aggression does a lot for a team, for sure. So talking about some of the Oxygen-specific meta, you know, I was talking to Baha, and he really wanted me to ask, you know, your team's been kind of pioneering that mind control meta. How does it feel being a team and a player influencing things now just in Heroes? Because, you know, he sees it popping up so much more even in ranked and that kind of stuff.
I think it's really cool. These ultimates that people would never have thought to go, they've got their place, and when we find it, we use it and we make it look good. There is just one downside to it, though. People have been picking those in my Stormly games, and it's not the right place, and it's just not good.
Do you use it as teachable moments, or are you just face palming?
50-50. I'll tell them, don't forget that Dragon's Arrow is a good ultimate as well, but...
I love it. I love it. You've done it to yourself. What are you going to do?
Yeah.
Do you feel like, you know, Oxygen has more up your sleeves? You know, what are scrims like? Is this where you guys test and experiment crazy comps, or is it something where you're trying to kind of keep it from the other teams?
We've definitely tried out a lot of things, especially in our week that we were prepping to face against Wildheart. We experimented with a lot of stuff to try to outdraft the drafters on Wildheart, and we've from the start of the season, we all shared our hero pools, and they were all really big, and we've known that we have the opportunities to branch out into whatever meta we feel like you know, the CCL will evolve into. So I think that does set us a little bit ahead of the competition. We've got Nasmus, he can play the Lost Vikings, Samuro, Abathur, Diva. He can do all the cancer stuff that no one wants to play against.
Yeah, I actually really wanted to ask you about the Vikings. So we saw you guys play it on Towers versus, I think, SSK, and then played it again this last week versus Granite, and were able to get the win where you hadn't been before. And then, of course, SSK, I think, went on to play Vikings, so, you know, I don't know who started that. I won't even make suppositions there, but, you know, what adjustments did you guys make? You know, was it in the draft around the Lost Vikings or in the play style that helped you go from, you know, iterating on that strategy to end up getting the win?
So we've done a decent amount of practice with the Lost Vikings and scrims, and we've decided that there's only a couple ways that you can play with them for it to actually be decent. And in that SSK game, we drafted around them, potentially trying to secure control of the entire map, because we'd have way more characters, and with an Abathur hat on all of them, they'd be more threatening. And then they drafted Sergeant Hammer and said, no, we're going to take bot lane and win the game, because that's how Towers of Doom works.
Yep.
And then last week against Granite, when we brought them to Cursed, we had the Vikings, and it's a huge map, and they're able to do what's best on that map, which is making sure you can control all the lanes, and it frees up the whole team to deal with bosses and camps and the objective. And especially having a Medivh in that 4-man sort of lets you cheat and win the 4-man most of the time. So it's just a really strong pairing, which is what I think made the game a lot easier that time.
Well, first of all, I love your Medivh reference. Well done.
Thank you.
A+. I look forward to seeing some of the other awesome picks, cool picks that you guys are able to bring out as part of those big hero pools. I kind of want to just close out the last couple of seconds here with a couple of questions about you, Madara, because you know, this is my first time chatting with you, and this may be, you know, the first time a lot of people are really getting to know you. you know, what is life like for you outside of CCL?
I mean, I'm still in high school. I take an IB course, which is just, it's like AP, it's higher level classes. I'm busy with that whenever I'm not doing, you know, CCL stuff. So the schedule for me is pretty much school in the mornings, practice in the afternoons, homework in the nights, and then do it again through the week.
That's amazing. How has that life load been for you? Are you someone who's able to balance all of that effectively?
Yeah, I'd say I'm able to balance it pretty well so far.
Awesome. What kind of a player, you know, in Heroes or otherwise, do you feel like you are? Do you feel like you're traditionally an aggressive player, a calculated one? Yeah.
I'd say I'm more of the calculated player. I like to know what I'm doing, and if I don't know what I'm doing in a game, then I'll try to learn so that I can be effective at it. And especially in like a team environment game, I like to make sure that I'm familiar with my teammates enough that I can, you know, keep them up and support them mentally. And I like synergy a lot. Synergizing with teammates is one of the strongest things you can do in any team game, I feel like, because two people working together is always going to be two people doing their own things.
Well, you know, all I'm hearing is that you better be supporting all those mind control players out there in Stormleague from here on out. All right, last question, and then I'll give you time for shout-outs. What does it mean to you, Madara, to be playing in CCL?
It means a future in HOTS for the game, for the players, for people like you who want to see it succeed. It means a future in the esports community as a whole, for games who might not have their developers supporting them like as hard as some others, but the fans still want to see it succeed. I think it's a really good direction to bring the gaming community, and I think it's just a really great thing what you're doing here.
Awesome. Well, thank you very much. Are there any shout-outs that you'd like to give?
Yeah, I'd like to shout out my team and my org for just giving us all the tools to go out there and make you all proud. I'd like to shout out you guys at CCL and HeroesHearth for making this possible. It's just been a dream come true. I'd like to give a huge shout out to Twitch chat. None of this would be nearly as fun without you guys. You're the reason we do it. I mean, if we didn't have people watching us and supporting us, it wouldn't be nearly as fun.
That goes doubly from me. Thank you all for watching. Thank you all for enjoying CCL. And thank you for hanging out with us here at In the Weeds, presented by Roll20. Thank you, Madara, for joining me.
Thank you.